This wasn't supposed to be controversial. It was a Minecraft experiment. 1,000 players, a massive prize, and yet, within hours, the story collapsed. Not because of one cheater, not because of one mistake, but because the system behind the video couldn't control what it created. This wasn't MrBeast getting exposed again. This was something more uncomfortable, a warning sign that his formula might finally be too big to manage. For years, MrBeast has run YouTube like a machine. Bigger challenges, more people, higher stakes. The formula is simple. Take chaos and turn it into a clean, easy-to-follow story. There's always a clear goal, clear rules, and a clear winner. That control is what makes his videos work. Even at massive scale, everything usually feels contained. But that control depends on one thing. The system has to be stronger than the chaos. And in this video, for the first time, the chaos won. This wasn't a normal MrBeast challenge. It ran for 8 real-life days, involved 1,000 players, and split them into 2 opposing sides with money on the line. That combination changed everything. Instead of rewarding cooperation, the format rewarded sabotage. Winning didn't just mean building better, it meant making sure the other side failed. Add in weak identity verification, limited moderation time, and players logging in only a few hours a day. And suddenly, this wasn't an experiment. It was a pressure cooker, one where a single bad actor could do far more damage than the system could realistically stop. On paper, the rules looked fine, but in practice, the scale made them almost impossible to enforce. 1,000 players, 8 days, limited staff. That's not a moderation problem. That's a math problem. Identity checks were basic, reporting systems came online late, and bad actors only needed a small window to cause chaos. Once AI-generated faces and fake accounts slipped through, the damage wasn't just mechanical, it was social. Paranoia spread. Accusations followed. Players started turning on each other. At that point, even fixing the issue didn't undo the harm, because when trust breaks inside a system, no amount of moderation can instantly put it back together. By the time the final video went live, the hardest part wasn't what happened. It was how it was shown. On screen, the story looked simple. One side stayed organized, the other side fell apart. Drama, infighting, collapse. But for many of the people who were actually there, that wasn't the full picture. External sabotage was barely visible. Late fixes were invisible. The messiness of the experiment was edited into a clean arc. And that's where the backlash really began. Because viewers didn't just feel entertained, they felt misled. When a story that claims to be an experiment smooths out the inconvenient parts, people stop arguing about outcomes and start questioning intent. And once that happens, the narrative doesn't just crack, it collapses. The backlash didn't grow because of one tweet. It grew because multiple versions of the truth started colliding. Participants shared clips, others shared screenshots. Some defended the event, others described it as broken from the start. Suddenly, there wasn't one story anymore. And when audiences sense that a simplified narrative replaced a messy reality, they don't debate details, they lose trust. The boys versus girls framing made it worse. It turned criticism into identity-based arguments. Every defense sounded like dismissal. Every complaint sounded like excuse-making. At that point, nuance was impossible. What could have been a discussion about scale and moderation turned into a fight about fairness, bias, and intent. And once a controversy stops being about facts and starts being about feelings, it grows faster than any response can contain. As the criticism spread, responses started coming in. Some participants defended the event. They said issues were handled quickly, that moderation worked, that the outcome wouldn't have changed anyway. Others said the opposite, that fixes came too late, that key moments were never acknowledged, that the final video left out crucial context. In the middle of all this, the official response stayed vague. Rules were referenced, actions were summarized, but the bigger questions went unanswered. And that's the problem with silence at this scale. When a creator doesn't fully address the cracks, the internet fills them in, not with nuance, but with speculation. At that point, it's no longer about what actually happened. It's about which story feels more believable. This is where everything connects. MrBeast's biggest strength has always been scale. Big ideas, big numbers, big moments that fit into simple stories. But this event was different. It wasn't clean. It wasn't contained, and it wasn't something that could be reduced to a single arc without losing truth along the way. 1,000 players don't create one story, they create hundreds. And when you force something that complex into a clean win-loss narrative, the gaps become impossible to ignore. That's the real issue here. Not cheating, not moderation, not even backlash. It's that the format outgrew the formula, and for the first time, scale didn't amplify the story, it broke it. And this is why the reaction felt familiar to a lot of people. This wasn't the first time a MrBeast project ran into trouble. It was just the clearest example of a growing pattern. As the productions get bigger, the margin for error gets smaller. When everything works, it looks effortless. But when something slips through, the consequences scale just as fast as the content does. Small problems don't stay small, they turn into narrative gaps. And narrative gaps turn into controversy. In the past, those cracks were easy to ignore. The stories were simpler. The variables were fewer. But now, every experiment involves real people, real incentives, and real ways for things to go wrong. And when that happens, the question isn't if something breaks, it's how visible the break becomes. This video wasn't a failure, it was a stress test. AI is making verification harder, large-scale online events are becoming easier to exploit, and audiences are more sensitive than ever to missing context. That means the old formula needs to adapt. Bigger no longer just means better, it also means riskier. If future projects don't account for how quickly chaos can spiral, more events like this are inevitable, not because of bad intentions, but because scale magnifies every weakness. The question isn't whether MrBeast can keep going, it's whether the system behind the content can evolve fast enough to keep control. This wasn't an expose, it wasn't a takedown, and it wasn't the end of anything. It was a warning, a reminder that even the most successful formula eventually meets a scale it can't fully control. MrBeast isn't collapsing, but his margin for error is. And as the challenges get bigger, the cost of getting things wrong is only going to rise.